You're watching Talk with Audrey. May is Military Appreciation Month, and the USO, with nearly 80 years of experience, has pivoted their resources across the entire global enterprise to help care for military members and their families while also helping to reduce the spread of the coronavirus. To tell us about how the force behind the forces keeps our military strong during this COVID-19 pandemic, Alan Reyes, the Chief Operating Officer of the USO. Welcome.
Thanks, Audrey. Very glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So, this pandemic has really affected everyone. How has it affected those in the military and their families?
Well, Audrey, as you said, the USO has been supporting our service members and their families for almost 80 years. We know in those 80 years, the life of the service members and their families are already very, very stressful every single day. You have service members that are deployed halfway around the world, many months away from their families at a time, families that are moving around the United States and overseas dozens of times throughout their service and their careers. Those are already stressful times. The COVID-19 pandemic has added some stress on top of that. You think about the way that it's disrupted everyone's lives, whether they're in the military or not. It's done so in many ways for our service members and their families. Challenges like spouse employment and childcare, and even just the ability to move around and travel and reconnect with each other after long deployments. Those are all now at risk. And so it's been a challenge for our service members and their families. And the USO is proud to do what we can to support them now and even in times of peace and war.
Indeed. Well, military families are accustomed to disruption. What are you hearing from some of the troops?
Yeah, first of all, we're also very proud of our service members and their families. They're doing such important work to keep our country safe and to protect our national interests. And I think that's the first and foremost on some of those soldiers and service members' minds as they're forward is how do I continue to do my mission in a safe and effective manner so that we can be ready? But at the same time, how do I do that by, when I'm disconnected from my family in this challenging time? I'm worried for them and their times at home. And so it's difficult for them. It's created additional stress for them. And so when they come to us at our USO centers, even though we're doing it and practicing safe distancing and we're doing contactless delivery, they're telling us that the way that we are supporting them, the way that we are connecting them back to their family and their home and their country, whether it's through a Skype connection because someone is missing their child's birth at home and they're able to go to a USO center and have that experience, or maybe we're delivering care packages to them while they're quarantined. They see that support. It gives them some comfort that makes them know that the country is there to support them now in this difficult time and even in other times as well.
And our thoughts and prayers are always with all of our service members. You mentioned the care packages. What other response measures has the USO taken at home and abroad?
Well, the other thing that we've learned in this pandemic is to bring our programming to virtual platforms like the one that I'm talking to you through today. And the US is known for great events and entertainment and bringing entertainers overseas to entertain our troops through the decades. Today, in this pandemic, we can't do that. And so we've brought great programming. We've had entertainers, musicians like the Chainsmokers, cast of CBS SEAL Team. We've had Martha Stewart come online, and people have been very entertained and very comforted by the fact that the entertainment industry is there to support them in ways that they hadn't done before. We're also doing things like virtual baby showers and virtual promotion ceremonies, things that are bringing people together in a very disparate way. And the neat thing, Audrey, is necessity is the mother of invention. And the great way that we're connecting our service members and their families through these digital means, this will persist well beyond COVID-19 because we know that this is another great way to keep our service members and their families connected.
Yep, we've all been forced to stretch, haven't we? And to find other ways to, of course, to remain engaged and in touch and let people know that we love and care for them. So I love the initiatives that you've launched. And I know that donor dollars are also important to the USO. Tell us how people can help.
Well, Audrey, a lot of, the USO, at the end of the day, we are a nonprofit. We aren't part of the government. So we are completely dependent on the generosity of the American people, millions of individual donors, thousands of, dozens and dozens of companies out there that are supporting our efforts. And so on top of that, we also have 30,000 volunteers that are volunteering in their own time and effort to make sure that we're serving our service members and their families as well as we can. Folks that want to come support us in many ways, whether it's through donations or through volunteering their time, they can visit our website at www.uso.org/coronavirus. They can learn more about what we're doing during this coronavirus pandemic, and they can also find ways to support the work that we're doing.
Well, I do know that as we all fight to get rid of this coronavirus, that our service members are also tasked with, well, protecting everyone in this country on top of that as well. So it's responsibility on top of responsibility. Alan Reyes, the Chief Operating Officer for the USO, has been my guest. Thank you so very much for joining us and for the work that you do.
Thank you, Audrey. I very much appreciate the opportunity to tell our story.
And that's it for this week's show. I'm Audrey Adams. Join me here next week for more insightful, intelligent, and inspiring conversations and information on Talk with Audrey. It's all about the business of living. I'll see you next week.